Did you know that something as simple as failing to report a change in your circumstances could cost you up to £5,000? What if I told you that many people are completely unaware of the serious consequences of not disclosing even minor updates? Stay with me for the next few minutes, because you'll want to hear how this could affect your universal credit and what you can do to avoid the costly fines. You might be thinking, I thought universal credit was straightforward, why would I get fined for missing something small? Well, there's a huge catch that the Department for Work and Pensions, DWP, isn't making clear to everyone. There are loopholes within the system, and these loopholes might just leave you vulnerable without even knowing it. Are you really aware of every change that you're supposed to report, even if it feels like no big deal? The truth is, one tiny mistake could turn into a massive financial penalty, and it's happening to people just like you. These unexpected fines could lead to serious financial strain for pensioners and those relying on universal credit to get by. But what can you do about it? Is there any way to protect yourself from falling into this trap? And more importantly, how can you make sure the DWP doesn't catch you out? If you've ever been uncertain about what exactly needs to be reported, you're not alone. Many people, especially seniors, are left in the dark when it comes to these rules, and that's exactly why it's crucial to stay informed. But don't worry, I've got you covered with all the details on how to avoid falling into this pitfall. Stay tuned as I break down the new DWP alert, what it means for you, and how you can avoid hefty fines that could set you back £5,000. You'll want to hear about the essential steps you need to take to stay safe and keep your universal credit benefits intact. It's easier than you might think to stay compliant, but only if you know what to look for. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Now, if you want to ensure you never get caught by surprise, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss out on more critical updates like this. Let's dive into the specifics right now. Keep watching, because I'm about to reveal the best tips and tricks that can save you from financial trouble. Now that you've got an idea of what's at stake, let's dive deeper into the details of this new warning from the Department for Work and Pensions, DWP. It's crucial that you understand every aspect of how universal credit works, especially with the penalties that are now in play. Let's break down exactly why you might be at risk of receiving a £5,000 fine if you fail to report changes in your circumstances. But don't worry, this information is going to help you stay informed, and I'll make sure you know exactly what you need to do to avoid any issues. When it comes to universal credit, many people don't realize just how strict the DWP can be with reporting changes in your situation. The system is designed to be flexible, but that flexibility comes with certain responsibilities. If your circumstances change and you don't report it in a timely manner, even by mistake, you could face consequences. The DWP expects you to be on top of your situation, but for many, this can be confusing and overwhelming. It's common for people to overlook reporting small changes, thinking that they don't matter, but the DWP has very specific rules about what needs to be disclosed. These rules can sometimes be difficult to navigate, but failing to do so correctly could cost you dearly. A seemingly minor change, such as a small increase in income or even a shift in your living situation, could trigger an investigation, and if you fail to report it, you could face that £5,000 fine. Let's take a moment to really understand what constitutes a change that you must report. It could be something as simple as starting a new part-time job, or even if your partner's earnings have changed. Many seniors assume that things like their pension or a small increase in savings won't affect their benefits, but that's where the danger lies. If these changes aren't communicated to the DWP, they could count as fraud or misrepresentation, even if they were unintentional. That's what's so tricky about universal credit. It's not just about the big changes, it's about the small ones, too. For many seniors, these small details may seem insignificant, but the DWP has a strict policy when it comes to changes in income, living arrangements, or even your health status. If anything changes that affects your entitlement, you must report it. And this is where the £5,000 fine comes into play. The DWP has made it clear that they are cracking down on these types of errors. They are not giving people much leeway anymore, so it's vital to stay on top of everything. What happens if you fail to report a change? The DWP has an internal process for identifying discrepancies between what you report and what they find in their system. They can audit your account, check financial records, and even cross-check with other government databases. If there's a mismatch, the consequences can be severe. The fine could be as high as £5,000, but that's not the only potential issue. You could also face a reduction in your universal credit payments, and in some cases, the DWP could even decide to stop your benefits altogether. Now, I know that might sound overwhelming, but the good news is that there are ways to protect yourself and avoid these fines. The first step is to be aware of your responsibilities. Stay up to date with any changes in your situation, and whenever something changes, make sure to report it as soon as possible. Whether it's a change in income, a new address, or a change in your household members, the DWP needs to know about it. And you'll want to keep a record of any communications you have with them, whether it's a phone call, letter, or online submission, just in case there are any issues later on. One important thing to keep in mind is that the DWP has made it clear that they are not simply punishing people for making mistakes. They understand that people can forget to report changes, especially if they are not aware of the rules. But they do expect people to be proactive in making sure that their information is up to date. That's why it's so important to stay organized and keep track of your personal situation. You may even want to consider setting up reminders for yourself, especially if you're managing multiple sources of income or other financial matters. Keeping your information up to date is your best defense against penalties. Another key piece of advice is to review your universal credit account regularly. It's easy to forget about things like reporting a change in your living arrangements, especially if you've been living in the same home for years. But even small changes can have an impact on your benefits. For example, if you've taken in a new roommate or had a family member move out, the DWP needs to know. That could affect the amount of money you're entitled to receive. So, reviewing your account regularly and ensuring that all the information is accurate is a good way to stay on top of things and avoid surprises later on. In addition to reporting any changes in your financial situation or living arrangements, it's also important to be aware of how the DWP views changes in your health or disability status. If your health condition has improved or worsened, it could affect the level of support you receive. Whether it's a change in mobility, a new diagnosis, or a shift in how your health is managed, these are all things that the DWP needs to know. And again, failure to report any of these changes could lead to penalties. While all of this might sound complicated, it's really just a matter of staying organized and keeping track of your information. By being diligent about reporting changes and making sure that everything is up to date, you'll be protecting yourself from potential fines and penalties. The DWP wants to make sure that the system is fair and that everyone is receiving the correct amount of support. But in order to do that, they need to have accurate and up-to-date information. It's your responsibility to make sure that they have what they need. You may also want to consider speaking to a benefits advisor or someone who can help you navigate the system. They can help you understand what needs to be reported and guide you through the process if you're unsure. This can be especially helpful if your circumstances are complex, such as if you're managing multiple forms of income or dealing with health issues. Having a professional on your side can give you peace of mind and ensure that you're meeting all the necessary requirements. As you can see, it's not just about reporting the big changes. It's about keeping track of everything in your life that might affect your universal credit entitlement. By staying on top of your situation and reporting changes as they occur, you can avoid the risk of fines and ensure that you're receiving the benefits you deserve. In conclusion, the new DWP alert should serve as a wake-up call for everyone on universal credit, especially seniors. The £5,000 fine for failing to report changes is serious, but it's not something you need to worry about if you stay informed and proactive. Make sure to report any changes in your situation, keep records of your communications with the DWP, and regularly review your universal credit account. By doing so, you'll stay ahead of the game and avoid the unnecessary stress and financial strain that can come with fines. Remember, the DWP is cracking down on these issues, but they are also offering guidance and support. If you're unsure about anything, don't hesitate to reach out for help. Stay informed, stay organized, and you'll have no problem avoiding these costly fines. Now that you have all the information, it's time to take action and make sure you're protected. Keep watching for more updates and tips to help you manage your benefits successfully. Don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest news.